Some of my friends and family might be wondering why all of a sudden am I posting so much information about myself or pictures of myself that many of them haven't seen or have seen but haven't seen in years. I've always been known to be a very private person, which I always will be. But there's a time and a place for everything. To everything there is a season. Well, in this particular season, it is imperative for me to write my own narrative. And the reason for this is I've been dealing with a situation, an ongoing situation, with an extremist, racist group. And these people involve military and even some levels of government who have been trying to sabotage my life's work so that they can justify their abuse. So our websites and all of our work and our shows and everything that I've poured my heart and soul into quietly and privately, because most of the work I do, I like to work behind the scenes. And other than my name in the credits on programs and TV programs and radio shows, or my voice being known because I do a radio program, there's very little else ever to be found about me. I've never been in trouble with the law of any kind. I've never even had a parking ticket. So there's never been any scandals or anything negative involving me or my name or reputation or my businesses. And the only time I speak is when I have something to say. I'm not someone who just talks for the sake of talking. I'm not one who gossips or idly chit-chats. I usually only speak when I'm venting because I'm diffusing myself. And sometimes you have to get the emotions out of the way so that you can think straight and deal with the situation appropriately and not out of emotions. Or I'm making a point. And at this particular time, my point is I am the same as I've always been. Many people who have known me haven't seen or heard a lot from me, especially in recent years, because I was in a severe car accident. I went through 10 years of surgeries and rehabilitation. I was never supposed to walk again. I was never supposed to get the use of my arm back again. My medical bills alone were over $500,000. The accident wasn't our fault. But there was a lot of things that came into play, a lot of illegal activity as well as that came into play with that situation that I don't want to speak on at this time, but will be addressed. And so right now, while I'm dealing with the federal government about the things that have been going on, and we're as high up as you can go. We're talking to the White House, members of Congress, the Department of Defense. There's no higher than we can go. One of the things that whenever you're dealing with an adversary, one of the number one tactics, one of my moms, I should say, not my mother or not my mommy, was a district attorney. And I spent a lot of time in the legal field, and I've actually spent a lot of my life as a legal advocate. And one of the number one things that the opposing or opposite side will do is try to discredit the person who is taking them to court as being unsound mentally. They'll try to discredit them as being somebody who is anything but a pillar of society, someone who is a criminal or into criminal activities, any way that they can to make that person look bad before the judge or before the juries or whoever they have to go before, to justify their behavior or to take the attention off of how horrendous or egregious their behavior or actions may have been. So, when in Rome, even though it's not my nature, I do realize and recognize that there's very little information about me anymore online. One of the tactics that the people that I'm dealing with had used is they hacked into all of our accounts and deleted all of our websites and all of the positive good things that I've spent a lifetime doing. They tried to completely erase all record of everything that I had accomplished and all the good that I had done. But if we can just pause for a moment, even if I'd never done a single good thing in my life, I still have civil rights, human rights, constitutional rights. There's still laws that must be abided by. And all systems are flawed to some level. But this in particular isn't so much a flaw in the system or our government as it is in human perspectives. Unfortunately, people, even if we have all the laws laid out in front of us, our own personal opinions still shade how we interpret the law and how we respond to the law. So, or who we feel is even worthy of getting justice within the law. It's not supposed to be that way, but we are not in a perfect world and we're not dealing with perfect people. No more than we're perfect ourselves. So, having to combat those type of things, it is in not just my best interest, because all the work I have ever done, everything, every art piece that I've ever created, a large portion of the proceeds go to charitable organizations. Everything I do, everything I have ever done has always benefited others.